When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the tempestuous sea of liberty. There is nothing more unequal than the equal treatment of unequal people. When angry, count to 10 before you speak. If very angry, count to 100. It is always better to have no ideas than false ones, to believe nothing, than to believe what is wrong. Whenever you do a thing, act as if all the world were watching. Every human being must be viewed according to what it is good for not one of us, no, not one, is perfect, and were we to love none who had imperfection, this world would be a desert for our love. In matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. Do you want to know who you are? Don't ask, act. Action will delineate and define you. It is the great parent of science and of virtue, and that a nation will be great in both, always in proportion as it is free. We must dream of an aristocracy of achievement, arising out of a democracy of opportunity. Nothing gives one person so much advantage over another as to remain always cool and unruffled under all circumstances. The care of human life and happiness, and not their destruction, is the first and only object of good government. One man with courage is a majority. I find that he is happiest of whom the world says least, good or bad. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Nothing is unchangeable but the inherent and unalienable rights of man. Our greatest happiness does not depend on the condition of life in which chance has placed us, but is always the result of a good conscience, good health, occupation, and freedom in all just pursuits. Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within limits drawn around us by the equal rights of others. I do not add within the limits of the law, because the law is often but the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the rights of the individual. Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited without being lost. The legitimate powers of government extend to such acts only as are injurious to others. It does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government, that whenever things get so far wrong as to attract their notice, they may be relied on to set them to rights. I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them. It is error alone which needs the support of the government. Truth can stand by itself. Experience hath shown that even under the best forms of government, those entrusted with power have, in time, and by slow operations, perverted it into tyranny. Our civil rights have no dependence on our religious opinions any more than our opinions in physics or geometry. Where the press is free and every man able to read, all is safe. Only aim to do your duty, and mankind will give you credit where you fail. The art of life is the art of avoiding pain. He who permits himself to tell a lie once finds it much easier to do it the second time. A coward is much more exposed to quarrels than a man of spirit. I believe that every human mind feels pleasure in doing good to another. Be polite to all, but intimate with few. One travels more usefully when alone because he reflects more. The most valuable of all talents is that of never using two words when one will do. Do not bite at the bait of pleasure till you know there is no hook beneath it. It takes time to persuade men to do even what is for their own good. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be. I hope our wisdom will grow with our power and teach us that the less we use our power, the greater it will be. History, in general, only informs us what bad government is. Enlighten the people generally, and tyranny and oppressions of the body and mind will vanish like evil spirits at the dawn of day. I have sworn upon the altar of God, eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty. The man who reads nothing at all is better educated than the man who reads nothing but newspapers. Every day is lost in which we do not learn something useful. Man has no nobler or more valuable possession than time. I was bold in the pursuit of knowledge, never fearing to follow truth and reason to whatever results they led. The opinions and beliefs of men follow involuntarily the evidence proposed to their minds. I cannot live without books, but fewer will suffice where amusement and not use is the only future object. Truth is certainly a branch of morality and a very important one to society. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, libe. In truth, politeness is artificial good humor. It covers the natural want of it and ends by rendering habitual a substitute nearly equivalent to the real virtue. Ignorance is preferable to error, and he is less remote from the truth who believes nothing than he who believes what is wrong. He who knows nothing is closer to the truth than he whose mind is filled with falsehoods and errors.